This is Gene Acasella from Port St. John, Florida, and you're listening to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling. This show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings, a live fire, fun, and frivolity show. If you want to get in touch with the show this evening or you want to follow the show during off-show hours, here's how you do all that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at bbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you get the newsletter. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, she's been on the show a few times. She is the pitmaster of the competition team Girls Can Grill. She's the founder of the website, girlscangrill.com. Christie Vanover joins me. Christie was live and in person at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas 2 weeks ago. So we talked about it with Wes Wright last week, just two dudes chopping it up who weren't actually there, but Christie was actually there. And we'll talk to her about some of the things she was able to touch and feel, look for breakout items in 2024, all that fun stuff. So look for that in just a few short minutes. And then, after we talk with Christie, we will be revisited by the Barbecue Central Show's resident cigar expert, co-host of the Cigar Authority's podcast, Mr. Jonathan rejoins the show. We've been doing Cigar School the last few times that he's been on. 2 times ago, we talked about what is a wrapper of a cigar and why you need it, what it does. The next time he was on after that, we talked about the binder. And then tonight, we are digging into the final piece of what makes up a cigar, which is the filler tobaccos. So we'll talk about filler leaf and where that comes from and why you have it and how it imparts flavor in the cigar and all that fun stuff. So Mr. Jonathan closing out the first hour, and then second hour, it's the fourth Tuesday of a month, and that can only mean a refiring of the most popular recurring segment ever, the Embedded Correspondence. Doug Scheiding from Texas, John Solberg from Michigan, and Rusty Monson of the great state of Utah. Sorry, my mistake, great city of Utah. Forgive me. So look for those 3 guys coming up in the second hour. We have a long, ever-growing list of 100% assurity questions. And then if we have time left over remaining in the show, we will have some other topics outside of assurity questions that we want to dig into as well. So looking forward to the Embedded Correspondence as we do each fourth Tuesday of the month in the second hour. Christie Vanover, Girls Can Grill. Mr. Jonathan, your first hour. Embedded Correspondence, your second hour. Don't forget, you can follow me socially, Instagram, X, TikTok, and the Snapper Snaps at BBQ Central Show. We say good evening to all of you watching tonight through one of those video streaming platforms. You can go to facebook.com/BBQ Central Show to watch. You can go to twitter.com/BBQ Central Show to watch. And you can also watch on YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where we also have a YouTube poll question of the week, which is the only place you can get certifiable results and voting. Tonight, we're asking everybody this on the heels of Jess Pryle's segment last week, where the tail end of that whole conversation got a little sideways in a good way. But we're going to ask everybody this. Have you ever eaten questionable shrimp or prime rib at the strip club? And currently, 71% of you are saying hell no to the no-no. I have to be honest. After listening to her last week, I thought I was going to be in the long minority of that. Got a lot of feedback. A lot of people love Jess's segment, the whole thing last week. Thought it was the best segment ever that she's done on the show. A lot of people coming in talking about you've never eaten at the strip club. No, never have, never will. Very gross to me. 29% of you, though, have had a questionable shrimp or prime rib meal at the strip club. So we'll ask all guests about that as we cruise through the show, and I'll keep you updated as long as I remember to do that. So we're going to start here tonight. I'm going off the board on this one. It has nothing to do with live fire. This is a public service announcement to all men and women, mostly men, but definitely women, about getting your colonoscopy scheduled and done. Yes, that's what I'm talking about in the show open. I'm a guy who's just shy of 50. July will actually be the magical 50 date, July 10, if you want to know specifically, so you can gift me. I've seen enough folks around me that are in their 50s or older who are being diagnosed with some form of colon cancer, and it's typically coupled with their discomfort of the preparation. In other words, they don't want to get the colonoscopy done because they don't want to do the stuff a few days before the procedure. If you're one of those people, you need to get over it and get the procedure done. I had mine done last Thursday. I can tell you, as far as the preparation was concerned, it wasn't like this. And I'm sure you've heard the horror stories of what you got to drink. 3 p.m., 2 5-milligram Dulcolax tablets. Then you mix 64 ounces of lemon lime Gatorade with 238 grams of Miralax. And then you start to drink 8-ounce glasses of that mixture every 15 minutes until the liquid is gone. And then 2 more Dulcolax tablets at 7 p.m. Not some insanely big jug of gross-tasting liquid that you hear about. Very easy to drink. Tastes just like lemon lime Gatorade. I like original flavor Gatorade, so no issue for me. Now, when the shit show turned on, yes, it was frequent. What would you expect? But you just heard what I ingested, so no shocker. Next day, showed up to the procedure office. Doctor came in, told me exactly how this whole thing was going to go down, trots me into a room. They put me out 100%, not twilighted or anything like that, out. And I woke up with a 100% clean colon. No polyps, no nothing. Easy. Since there was nothing in there, I have a hall pass for 10 years. I'll be honest, 10 years seems like a long time to go until the next colonoscopy. I wouldn't mind going half that time, 5 years, just to be safe, but that's just me. Here's the bottom line. If you're putting it off, don't wait another second. For 24 hours of being inconvenienced, maybe 48, the results are ones that can prevent you from what? Dying. Do you not want that info? Guys, if you're 40, ask your primary care physician to get you a colonoscopy scheduled. Yes, 40. Because the new info coming out is that colon cancer diagnoses are being found earlier and earlier, not the opposite. So get yourself over to the doctor's office and get it scheduled. In fact, demand it. It's covered by insurance, especially if you're 50 or over, this is easy stuff. And now I want to thank the show's newest sponsor, of course, the Cleveland Clinic, providing world-class care. Just kidding. We have some feedback from past shows that I would like to get to. Andy from Northeast Missouri weighing in. Hey, Greg, as someone who would love to someday open a barbecue supply store, I have really enjoyed hearing the episode with Mike Luce and from others in the past shows who own barbecue stores. They are all good info, and I love the questions that you're asking about hot-selling items and how and who they are carrying and putting on the shelves. Keep up the great work. I would enjoy hearing from more fellas and ladies who are in the biz. Thanks, Andy. Terry in West Virginia. Greg, was it me or was it weird that Meathead didn't want to pick a name that you were giving him this month during the poll question? I thought it was odd myself. Wondered what your take was. Podcast listener only. Regards, Terry. Terry, Meathead is Meathead. I've known not to dig in with him. It's just not worth it. He took it in his own opinion. Len in Missouri. Greg, thanks for the history lesson and criminal lesson on Dixon, Illinois. Who knew you were so well-versed in other stuff besides barbecue and grilling? More Greg in 2024. Live and podcast listener, depending on life. Regards, Len. Len, thanks for writing in. All right, we got Christie Vanover in the green room ready to go. In fact, Mr. J is in early, too. Probably can't wait to hear Christie Vanover talk about CES and live cookers. But before we do any of that, I'm asking you all this. You tired of settling for mediocre grilling experiences? Of course you are. It's time to step your game up. Bring the ultimate flavor and cooker to the backyard barbecues. Pits and Spits charcoal grills, offering the highest quality live fire cooking experience that you can get in the market today using either wood or charcoal. Their solid fuel grills produce those classic flavors you're looking for when you have the time to fire up the grill and cook for friends and family. With a large adjustable fuel tray, you can raise and lower the fire to control and fine-tune the heat. Their take on the very popular Santa Maria-style grill. Check them out at pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central Show. Again, that's pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central Show. And when you're spelling Pits and Spits, it's the double T on the pits and the spits. You can use promo code Charcoal Central at checkout. And when you do that, you can save $150 off any charcoal grill that they're offering. That's right. You love to save money. All Centralites do. Rule number 3 of the show. If it's free, it's me. But rule number 10 of the show is if you can save $150 on a Pits and Spits charcoal grill, then you use code Charcoal Central and you save that money. pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central Show. We're back with Christie Vanover from girlscangrill.com. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
This portion of the show being brought to you by CookinPellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. First, you visit CookinPellets.com and see all the products, and then when you're ready to buy, you go to Amazon.com or Lowe's.com or Walmart.com. Same great product, same great pricing, best shipping rates ever, even better than CookinPellets.com if you can believe it. Told to be by Chris Becker, I'm not lying. So, CookinPellets.com, the place to go to peruse and then buy at Amazon or Lowe's or Walmart. As I mentioned last week, the place to bring your grills and cookers for unveiling might not be the traditional live fire industry trade shows anymore. Instead, CES could be the place where all of this should be taking place from now on. My next guest was at CES a few weeks ago, and I am happy to welcome her back to the show to further discuss it, the pitmaster of Girls Can Grill, Christie Vanover. Chris, before we get into CES and what you're up to, the new podcast, all that fun stuff, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody. And I need to know, Christie, you first and foremost, have you ever eaten questionable shrimp or prime rib at the Script Club?
Do you only care about the questionable ones, or no?
I guess food in general?
No, the answer is definitely no.
Thank God 75% of us are saying no, we have not ingested any questionable shrimp or prime rib or food in general. It skeeves me out, but 30% or now 25%, I guess, doesn't skeeve them out at all. So glad to have you back on the show. First things first. Most recent thing is first. You were at the Fancy Food Show in Vegas yesterday. So anything that grabs your attention there that you think will break into mainstream food or live fire food in 2024?
Not so much live fire. I didn't think there was anything too earth-shattering. Lots of barbecue rubs, sauces, stuff that we've seen before. But just in the grilling side of things, I will say something that stood out to me was grilled pickles. So a company called Randy's Pickles, which we shared, was based out of Cleveland. They actually are... They are grilling the cucumbers before pickling them. So they add a little bit of char, smokiness flavor to them. So that was something that was a little bit unique.
Did you have a sample of those?
I did. They were good. I wish they were a tad bit more smoky. But other than that, I mean, it was fun. It added some new depth to it.
Where was the pickle flavor? I'm always a little, so I love pickles, but I don't like any cucumberness, reminiscent cucumber or anything. If it's a pickle, I want it to be pickle, no crossover. And like Katz's Deli has like half sour. I don't like any of that. Is it full pickle or do you have some cucumber?
I'd say you have the crisp and texture of the cucumber, but I would say it is more on the pickle side, and it's not the dill side. It's a little bit more of that sweet and tangy with just a little bit of heat.
Very good. So we'll be on the lookout for that. I'm surprised I haven't had them, but we'll chase them down here at the local Heinen's. So let's go ahead and
They're called
recap.
sideburns, by the way.
Sideburns.
You get it?
Yeah, well, so I went to the website, by the way, and it appears online, at least at this point, they're sold out, so they must have done really well at the Fancy Food Show to sell them right out, but we'll keep an eye out for them. So let's go ahead and recap the CES. High level first. Are you surprised at how many cookers there were at this event?
I was. It's been about 15 years since I've been to the Consumer Electronics Show. It's held in Vegas every year, but I haven't really had a need to go since I've been in the barbecue and grilling industry. But this year I saw that there were some grill companies who decided to make a debut, and the whole food tech section has been expanded significantly. So yeah, I thought it was interesting. It's a big investment for those companies, but it's a big audience too.
For scale, what percentage of the show was cookers in some form or fashion, regardless of fuel, compared to whatever else was being exhibited?
Like 0.01%.
Oh, wow.
It was, the show is in at least 5 casinos, multiple convention centers, thousands of exhibitors, and there were 6 grill companies. So, yeah.
Overall, well-tended event?
Yes, tens of thousands of people from all over the world. Yeah, it was huge. It was overwhelming how many people, but it was pretty cool.
Favorite non-cooker item at the show that you saw?
I'm so in love with Govee lights now. Nothing to do with food whatsoever. It's this whole thing that you put these LED lights behind your TV, and it makes your whole living room like glow the same colors of whatever's on your screen, and it just makes your TV look a whole lot bigger. And they were on display there. We just got it at Christmas and installed it, and they were there, and so yeah, I kind of fangirled on that.
How do it know what color to change?
There's a little camera that sits over your TV. You can either do the HDMI input and it knows that way, or there's a little camera that mounts over the top and doesn't view you on your couch. It just views your TV, and you calibrate it. And yeah, it's cool.
Last time you were on the show, we talked about the new Connected Joe Kamado cooker from Kamado Joe, obviously. That was a CES as well. Anything different about it as you see it in this version, or same thing?
It was the same version and even the same firmware. They're getting ready to do a firmware update on it, but nothing has changed from when I talked to the engineers.
You a frequent user of that?
I would say yes and no. I have so many different grills. It's not the grill itself. It's just that I'm always using so many different grills for different clients that I don't have time to use every grill as often as like if it was just my only grill. But I'm still a fan.
What's your favorite grill out of all the grills? How many do you have?
I've got like 30.
Wow.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it depends on the occasion. I love my Hunsakers for cooking on the competition circuit. Those are by far my favorite. I've got 3 that I compete with, but I've got 2 more in the backyard. I love my Grill Works, which is a Santa Maria style. I love my new Masterbuilt gravity fed. That one's really fun because it's like pellet but charcoal. We can talk about that because that was at the show too. Yeah, and then I have a pellet grill. I have my Ninja grill. I just have so many different grills and gas grills. So
let's talk about the Masterbuilt since it's top of mind. Is this the one that has the chute like in the grill itself where you're putting the charcoal in the actual cooking chamber? Or are you talking about the gravity-fed Masterbuilt?
So they showed off both at the show. They have the one that has the chute inside. It's like the hopper, I guess, that's inside the grill. That one's called the Auto Ignite.
Yep.
That one is available now, and it's about $500. That little box does take up some of the grill space, obviously, because it's in the grill, but it's the standard size of your gas grill. And it's cool because that area is also metal and you can put the lid on it and you can actually like griddle on it or sear or get your hamburger buns warm or whatever you want on it. And it's also charcoal with that pellet technology. So it's got the temperature probe inside, you set your digital dial, and then it will adjust with the fan that blows to keep the temperature where you want it.
At $500, seems like a great value. There's a lot of other industries where value doesn't necessarily mean sacrifice in quality. In this instance, Masterbuilt has been renowned for building to price point. Great ideas, great innovation, but not necessarily longevity in life, great craftsmanship, all this stuff, because it's always coming from the Far East. What do you think about a reasonable lifespan if you're doing 3 or 4 cooks a week on it?
I would say several years.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty solid construction. I haven't cooked on it myself. They're going to actually be sending me one, so I'll play around with it and see. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to hold up. It's not as thick as some of those more expensive price points as far as the metal and the grade goes. But yeah, so long as the technology holds up, that's the only thing. Like, I mean, you run into that with pellet grills too. The motherboard will go out and you have to replace that. So I don't know the longevity of that, but the grill itself, I think if you maintain it, keep it clean, it should last you a good while.
Do we classify Weber as being at CES, or were they somewhere else?
I don't classify them as being at CES. I know it's a little controversial. They had a big party, a little private event at Red Rock Casino, which was not part of CES. They weren't registered as an exhibitor. So in my opinion, they were in Vegas.
Were they trying to like crash the party without paying to get in and exhibit?
I don't know personally. I can't speak on their behalf, but I will
Your
say
speculation?
I will say that they made a smart marketing move by saying that the media all reported that they unveiled their stuff at CES.
Yeah.
But that's like if I went to Memphis and cooked some barbecue in May, I'm not going to say I'm at Memphis in May if I'm not at Memphis in May. So, but I wouldn't say it was necessarily they're doing it, but other than the media, maybe not reporting fully accurately, perhaps.
Did you see any of their products?
I did not. I
No.
was an exhibitor at CES, but not an invitee to their shindig.
You were an exhibitor?
I mean, I was a media person,
okay.
so I got
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go to all the. Sorry
Got it.
for that. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to leave Weber aside. We talked about that with Wes Wright from cookoutnews.com ad nauseum last week. Anyway, so if you missed it, go back and get that. The other item I want to talk about tonight is GE Profile Indoor Smoker. Originally, this was a crowd-funded type situation. It was the Arden Smoker, I believe, when it first started out. Now it's converted into the GE Profile Indoor Smoker. What do you like about the unit?
I like the fact that you can smoke indoors for people who do have the complications of weather. I mean, for us, our weather it's when it's 115 degrees. I may not want to be outside. For you guys, it's when it's, 10 feet of snow out there and you don't want to be smoking. So it gives you that versatility. It has a lot of the auto technology that you find in other pellet grills and things nowadays, where you can like push brisket and it'll cook it to the internal temperature you want with probes. But my favorite thing about it actually has nothing to do with the fact that it's a smoker. It's the fact that it can go down to 140 degrees and hold your brisket. So most grills can't go that low. Your oven doesn't usually go that low. If you put it on warm, it's still like 180. So then it's still cooking your brisket.
Yep.
We all throw brisket in a cooler. That doesn't maintain temperature for that long in a safe zone. So that 140 is like an Alto sham, really, but at a that's part of your smoker. So I think that part's pretty cool.
What size brisket are you fitting in that thing?
You're probably you have to separate the flat and the point. I don't think you can do a full packer unless it's an itty bitty guy. So yeah, you're separating the flat and the point, but it has enough shelves that you could fit probably a 10, maybe 12 pound flat. I mean, from a 12 pound packer, put the flat and the point in there.
I asked Wes last week, want to get your take on it. Do you feel that the real potential failure for this unit is the confiscation of available counter space that it needs to function?
I think that's going to be a big issue because it is the size of a microwave, but vertical. So like if you took your microwave and you just tilted it 90 degrees and set it on your counter, and if you're an avid smoker, you can probably make room for it. But if it's something you're going to do like once a month, I think that could be a challenge.
Plus 40 pounds. Is that heavy enough to not want to lug it up and down the stairs or, even in and out of the cabinets in the kitchen? And
Yeah.
you run into out of sight, out of mind type thing?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know how much my KitchenAid weighs. I know my KitchenAid weighs a lot, but I bet this probably still weighs a little bit more than
The
that.
mixer
but-
KitchenAid?
Yeah, that
That's
thing's
not
heavy
40
for
pounds.
me.
That's not
I know
40
it's
pounds.
not 40, but it's heavy. I mean, it's maybe like 10. So if something's
Yeah.
I don't know that I could lift the 40-pound one as easily. Maybe I could. I don't know.
I mean, its potential
yeah,
success is going to be for the person that has the room. They're buying it for it pretty much, and they're just going to stick it in there. It's always going to be visible, and they don't care that they're losing that much counter space probably.
Yeah. But you know what? I've kind of made a new philosophy on my own life and how my house is. We all think we have to have our certain dining room, our certain living room, our certain bedroom, our whatever. Everything has to be however we think it's traditionally supposed to be. If you want to put the smoker in your office or in your dining room, it doesn't have to be in your kitchen. Just like find a place in your house and make room for it. So if you really want it that bad, they're going to be sending me one. So I have no idea how the food tastes off of it. I didn't get a chance to taste it, but I'll be getting one soon. So I'm interested to check it out. I will say that it functions similarly to the Ninja wood fire grill, I think, except that the Ninja is convection. So the air is kind of circulating in it, whereas this one, it's not. And then this one, obviously, the smoke gets catalyzed, so it's okay to be indoors, whereas the Ninja wood fire, you have to keep that outdoors because the smoke doesn't.
I'm looking at our time left, and I'm trying to figure out which one I want to ask you about. I do want to talk about this one first. We have enough time. We'll go back to it. Sear Grill's Perfecta
Yeah.
was all the rage of CES. Even the nerds were covering it in awe. I saw your bit that you posted on Instagram or whatever you did. Takeaways on the Perfecta.
It's pretty for somebody who wants to put on a show. Practicality, I'm not sure about because it's like you can cook a few steaks and you cook them vertically in like 90 seconds. Again, I don't know what the flavor is going to be like. It cooks at 1652 degrees. So it's similar to like a Schwenk grill or one of those that cooks really, really hot and fast. It does have a rotisserie feature that I actually didn't see in person. I just saw online. So there may be a little bit more versatility, but it's $3,500. She's really pretty. So like if you are one of those people with a big swanky backyard and you want to put on a show, I think that, yeah. Otherwise, it's a pretty heavy price point.
Anybody that's around you as you're looking at this, what are they talking about? Are they immediately buying into how cool this is? Or as I asked Wes, on a scale of 1 to 10 on the gimmick meter, 1 being not very gimmicky, 10 being the most gimmicky, where do people think about this?
That's a good question. I think it's definitely, before they hear the price point, they're like, that's a cool thing. Like maybe I guess that's hard. Yeah, maybe like a 6. I don't know. But
Price is
but
a
it was
driver here, isn't it?
I think so. It was $1,000 off at the show, actually, so you could get it for $2,500. But I just don't know a lot of people who follow me that spend the thousands upon thousands of dollars for grills, unless it can really do a lot of things.
This wasn't demonstrated either. This was just like a big light show in the booth. You didn't get any samples or see the actual heat or anything?
I saw the heat. They were able to turn it on and off, but Vegas is funny about giving away food samples with the health district and all that stuff. So they didn't cook any steaks on site. They just had some plastic burgers that they would kind of put in the chamber. But yeah, if I get one, I'll try it and I'll test it out. And I'll put it through the ringer. But yeah, like I said, it was interesting. It was cool. It was CES worthy. I mean, that's what people do at CES, whether it's a TV or a car that, they put on a show. And so it did that. And I think, again, for an affluent person who has a swanky backyard who wants to drop $3,500, I think it'd be cool. And I think you could entertain well with it. No idea, though, what the flavor is going to be. And I worry, too, like you can't really put sugary things or barbecue sauce or something on things because it would just burn up like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think why it's at CES too is it's the artificial intelligent driver, as far as you push a couple buttons and then it figures it all out, measures it, and all of a sudden now it's cooking, and then it's bringing the burners in, bringing the burners out to kind of give you that whole feel. I'm always a little leery about cooking an 1.5 inch steak in 1.5 minutes and having it be perfect. I can't reconcile that in my mind yet. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but you look at some of those other cookers, like you were talking about, like Schwank and Out of Wild and all of those similar stainless steel. They're $2,000, $2,500 less and achieving more or less the same type of thing, except you're only getting heat from the top instead of on both sides like you're doing with this Perfecta. So I'll be anxious if you get a sample and you start using it. We can have you back on to get the full. Sure. Actually, I'm working on an interview with the owner of the company, but he's in England, and that's going to make for a very weird interview for him if he wants to stay up until 2 a.m. But people have done it before, so we'll see what happens.
Super cool guy, and I mean they were obviously very passionate about the product, and so it must cook food okay, because otherwise they wouldn't have this big of an investment. So I'd like to try it too, but yeah, that'd be cool if you get him on.
We got 2 minutes left. Current Backyard introduces a full-size electric grill. Looks like there's 2 burners, or at least 2 burner control knobs on this. Now, look, pulling the curtain back, I don't know how many people know this. This is a new version of the Charbroil Edge. W.C. Bradley just decided to come out with a whole new brand, and they don't really want to talk about the fact that it's within that umbrella. They just want to stick it off to the side, make it run or fall on their own, I guess. What did you think of it?
I didn't cook on it or taste the food. They did have a food sampling. I just wasn't able to make it there in time because it was in a different part of Vegas. I'm not sure. The dials are really pretty. The display panel's really pretty. I do like that it's 2 burners, so you could do direct heat, indirect heat. I don't know. I until I cook on it, I don't know. I just don't know the flavor of the electric heat source in that aspect when you've got the food dripping on it. I don't know how well it's going to get cleaned. I mean, they said there's a cleaning cycle so that you can turn it up hot and burn off everything, but yeah. But again, I think there's a place for it. Like if you live in California or somewhere where you can't have gas anymore or charcoal anymore, you can only have an electric grill and you want a grill, then maybe it's the grill for you. So
I have the Edge on my side yard, and what I have found is you have to go to 700 degrees, period. Can't go in between. As soon as you lift the lid, as much as the guy from Charbroil wanted to tell me it recovers just as fast as a gas or a charcoal grill, I didn't find that to be the case. In fact, the dial never read 700 degrees again after I opened it for the first time. All that aside, first thing I did on it was steaks. It was really good. Sear marks were what you would come to expect from any other live fire cooker that you've ever used. The flavor was really good. I bet I could put it in front of you. You would have never known that it came off an electric grill. So I'm hopeful that Current continues to gain a little steam here, because we've always said that whatever year we're in is going to be the year of the full-size electric grill, and Didn't really happen last year, so maybe this year will be the year it starts to push in. So you have a new podcast that you're 2, 3, 4 episodes in at this point as far as release. Why you doing it, and what should we look forward to over the next couple weeks?
Yeah, so the podcast is called BBQ Tips, and it's just that. It's 15 minutes or less. I'm just spitting out barbecue tips. The last episode this last week was my CES roundup. This week I'm going to do a roundup of Fancy Food Show, but now that the conventions are over, I'm going to be focusing more on just like 1 or 2 food items and just giving some basic barbecue tips. So when you're driving to work or you're in the shower or whatever, when you only have 15 minutes instead of having to listen to a whole hour-long podcast, if you don't have that time, it's just a little something you can sprinkle in your day.
You can follow her at Girls Can Grill. The website is girlscangrill.com, and I assume the podcast is available on all the major podcast platforms. So if you want to add another one to the lineup, go ahead and grab Christie's podcast. And I certainly appreciate the time and the recap of CES. And as soon as you get your hands on some of those other grills, you're ready to give us the review, let me know. We'll have you back up.
Sounds good. Thanks so much.
You got it. Thank you. Christie Vanover right there, girlscangrill.com, and again, socially at Girls Can Grill. I'm excited to have her get a demo of that Sear Grills, hopefully. And then she'll give us the unadulterated review, which is what I want to hear. $3,500 for that. Yikes. That could be a bit of a turnoff. And again, as I told her, I'm in the middle of trying to lock down a conversation with the CEO or the owner or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. All right, Mr. J is ready to go. We'll get to him here in just 1 second. Before we do that, we will talk about my favorite ceramic cooker in the world, the Primo. Yes, sir. What do we love about ceramic cookers in general? We love that they're fuel efficient. We love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures for traditional barbecue meats. We also love that they can get rip-roaring hot for the high-temperature grilling of steaks and other thin cuts. But what's missing in the everyday ceramic grill cooker lineup? The real ability to do true two-zone cooking. Two-zone cooking is very important to both professional and backyard cooks alike. It's the best way to manage a fire and cook with confidence. However, getting a two-zone fire in a round ceramic cooker is not very realistic. Why? Because it's a round. Enter Primo and their game-changing oval design. The shape gives you the ability to execute that two-zone setup that you desire. It also gives you the other ceramic grill benefits as well. When you break it down, 60 different ways to configure the Primo and cook on it. So you're really only limited by your culinary imagination. Here's the bottom line. Best ceramics in the biz, yes. Patented technology and true two-zone cooking capabilities, yes. Multiple sizes, yes. And if you have to have a round one for some reason, they have those, but highly recommend against it. If you're going to break the mold, get the oval. Thank me later. I recommend the XL. Only sold through dealers, so go to primogrill.com and find a dealer near you. Visit them in person and then buy the XL or buy the oval that best fits your needs. We are back to learn about filler tobacco with the official cigar expert of the Barbecue Central Show, Mr. Jonathan from the Cigar Authority's podcast. We are back right after this.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard 2, Fireboard 2 Drive, and the Fireboard Pro. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via Bluetooth if you have Alexa or the Google Assistant or other smart speakers in your home. Fireboard integrates with most of those. Fireboard.com is the website. You can call with questions, 816-945-2232. My next guest, well-known figure in the cigar community and one of the co-hosts of the very popular Cigar Authority podcast. The weekly show finds him and his co-hosts sharing their passion for premium cigars and provide invaluable insight on everything from cigar manufacturing, the business end, latest trends, making the show a trusted source for cigar aficionados like me worldwide. It has also earned him the title of official cigar expert for the Barbecue Central show. We welcome back our pal, Mr. J, to the show. All right, Mr. J, before we get into figuring out what filler tobaccos are and why they are important to cigars as we finish Cigar School, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, and it's this. Have you ever eaten questionable shrimp or prime rib or food in general at the Script Club? Yes or no? Mr. J, I don't have you for some reason. Are you on mute? Potentially? He's reconnecting.
How about that?
Yes, sir. All right. Love it. Let me circle back. Questionable eating of shrimp, prime rib, or any food at the Script Club?
Of course. I mean, if you're there, can you really trust the food sources?
I mean, I would never, as I said last week, there's no way I would ever eat food at the strip club. I mean, I can't begin to imagine a life scenario that would find me going to a strip club to eat, ever. You're way more daring.
You know what? You make a great point, but sometimes you don't want to spend on the drinks. So maybe you get the nachos, or the prime rib looks good, and I'm a carnivore, so prime rib would be the only thing I could get.
You are butting in with the 21% that are saying yes, they have eaten at the strip club. 79% of us are saying no, we are not eating at the strip club. Last couple times we've had you on, it has been Cigar School 101, and it's really gone over to rave reviews. I don't know if I've messaged you or not, but I'm getting more and more feedback, emails, direct messages saying, hey, the cigar guy is great. He's getting me pumped up. I'm going to be trying cigars now, or it's refueled the passion that I once had but lost, and I'm going to get into it again. So appreciate all the knowledge you've been dropping over here. The last part of Cigar School here tonight is filler tobacco. So let's start right at the high level. What is filler tobacco, and what do it do?
So filler tobacco, you get maybe 7 or 8 leaves that go into a blend of the cigar. So the outside is the wrapper. The next level is the binder, which we've discussed ad nauseum. And then you have the filler tobaccos. So filler really equals flavor. Inside the filler, you're going to have roughly 1/3 of very low priming tobacco, which is super high in combustion. It's also high in off-putting flavors like ammonia, a little bitterness from nitrates. That tobacco just doesn't take to the fermentation process as well because it's thinner, and it can't be worked for as long. The longer you work tobacco, the thinner it gets. So you're going to have a little bit of off-putting flavors from low primings. Middle priming, you're going to have a lot of aroma. So this McAuliffe Black that I'm smoking, this year's Cigar of the Year, has a large proponent of middle priming tobacco, very aromatic, not a lot of strength, decent combustion, but mostly it's about the aroma with middle primings. Then you get into the high primings, often referred to as Ligero, and that is where you get your nicotine strength and also mouthfeel, because most of your flavor, as you know from the barbecue world, gets backdoored from your olfactory senses. So you smell more of the flavor, which is middle primings, but the actual taste on your tongue, whether it's spicy, whether it's earthy, maybe it's sweet, sour, bitter, those all happen from the high primings. So the filler is going to be a big proponent of, or 2/3 of it is aroma and taste. So middle primings, high primings, and the low primings are there to add combustion and often to round out the flavor. So if you have tobacco that has is on the chocolatey sweet spectrum, to be balanced, you know, from cooking, you need to have something that's going to be on the bitter or sour side, and that's going to be your low primings, which will also boost combustion.
So as the farmers are planting and harvesting, filler tobacco isn't a specific plant where it's just being grown for that. all of this stuff is going to be taken in part and parcel off of an individual plant. This part is going to be a wrapper. This part is going to be the binder. This part's going to be filler tobacco. Farmers aren't just growing for filler tobacco specifically.
No, they're mostly growing for wrapper. So all of the better leaves with no water spots, no blemishes, those become wrapper, and it doesn't matter what the plant is. Even if the manufacturer itself isn't using that particular seed strain for wrapper for themselves, they'll reserve the better leaves and sell those off as wrapper because that's the highest dollar value that you can get. You can get $60 a pound, whereas filler tobacco might be $10 a pound. So the stuff that's blemished, the stuff that's cracked, that has holes in it, that can be used for filler because you're never going to see it. We as consumers buy with our eyes.
So if this filler leaf was a sexier, more aesthetically pleasing leaf, it would be living a much more expensive life. It would be that wrapper leaf that you're selling for $60 a pound instead of being the $10 a pound filler.
For sure. Yeah.
How's the filler put into the cigar? What's the process?
So what happens is, and I'm going to use a piece of paper here as an example for the people that are watching. If you're listening, you use your imagination. But if you imagine how an accordion looks, so they'll take the tobacco and they'll fold it. This is the most common way to do it. And once that's folded, the stem structure in the leaf breaks, and the final, they've always called it the final fermentation, but we've discovered that really it's the stem structure that's breaking, and the ammonia leaches out into the chamber of the cigar. One side ends up being capped, the other side is open, and now the cigar becomes what's known as sick, or goes through a sick period of about 90 days of that ammonia and nitrate being released into the chamber, and then it has to degas just like coffee does. So they'll accordion the bunch. Some companies will do what's called entubal. They'll roll them into individual straws, and those straws will get stacked on top of each other, and they'll be either bound by hand, or most companies are using what's called a Lieberman press. It's a piece of leather that sits in a cup like this, and then the fillers go inside, the binder goes inside, and then they use a handle, and it pushes the leather together and rolls, much like if you're ever in high school using a rolling machine. That's a smaller version of a Lieberman press, and that still is considered hand rolled. And once that's done, it goes into a mold and gets turned so many times over a certain amount of time, depending on the manufacturer's specifications. And then the wrapper gets passed completely by hand. So it is sometimes referred to as machine assisted, but it's a very simple machine. It's considered hand rolled when it comes to legal definition.
Between the accordion and the straws being stacked on top of each other, do you have a preference, or do you find one brings the better flavor?
It really comes down to how the manufacturer wants to have the draw be. You obviously get a better draw if you have straws going through, but you also don't get the level of complexity you're looking for, because those straws, you just don't get the variety of tobacco. The guy rolling the straws has his, the center tobacco, whatever that is, whether it's aromatic or high primings or low primings. Very labor intensive, and it makes those cigars more expensive. And to my taste buds, I'm not seeing the ones that are rolled entubal be better or worse than the ones that are rolled accordion style. Once they're draw tested and they pass the draw testing, you get the same draw. You really get the similar flavor. Most entubal cigars that I know of actually have to be box pressed to restrict the airflow, which adds another process and another expense. So if you're into paying more, you go entubal. But most of the manufacturers that I knew of that were doing it that way have all gone out of business, and most likely because they weren't making the margins.
So the filler tobacco, if somebody's just tuning in right now, wondering what we're talking about, filler tobacco is giving you the most flavor and the most aroma. Talk about wrapper. I don't remember what we said, but if binder was even doing any of that, maybe it was a little bit. But this is where the major taste components and flavor components are coming from.
Yeah, to sum the whole thing up, the wrapper is the aesthetically pleasing leaf, that's the only leaf where it matters which side is up. You want it the shiny side up, that is the top of the leaf, and that's how that gets rolled on. The binder is going to be working in opposition to the wrapper. So if you have a thick wrapper, you'll have a thin binder. If you have a thin wrapper, you'll have a thick binder, so that the two can aid each other in their combustion. And then the filler is going to give you the majority of the flavor, because that's where the majority of the tobacco is. And you hear people talk, and mostly they're not manufacturers that say this, they are brand owners. They'll say, oh, the wrapper gives you most of the flavor. It's not really true. It's what you can taste because it's on your lips. But flavor-wise, it's 1/7 or 1/8 of the leaves in the blend. It can't provide the majority of the flavor.
So if you've missed any of our Cigar School, go back. You can search Mr. Jonathan in the search bar, and you can learn more about binders, more about wrappers, which was the first thing that we talked about. And then you can fill it in here, no pun intended, with the filler talk if you missed it and you're just tuning in. Mr. Jonathan is the sales manager, general manager over there, one of the Two Guys locations in New Hampshire. So what's smoking well in the shop these days, Mr. J?
I got to tell you, we put out a contenders pack, which is the top 10 cigars of 2023. And there were two cigars that stood out early on as far as sales. That's one of the ways we track it, is people voting with their wallet after they buy the contenders pack. So we saw an uptick in the West Tampa Red, and we saw an uptick in the McAuliffe Black. But times are tough. One cigar is $12. One cigar is $8. And for the money, the consumers continued time and time again to vote with their wallet. And McAuliffe Black pulled ahead by the end of the contest by a dramatic margin. I can't share the exact numbers, but it was staggering. And so McAuliffe Black becomes the Cigar of the Year. I'm good for 2 or 3 a day right now. I'm very high on this cigar. I love it. And you know me, I'm picky on what I buy boxes of. So it's this, and it's Aladino Corojo Reserve. And there's one new one called the HVC Short Corona. This cigar, for those guys that like the full-bodied cigar smoking experience, and maybe you're freezing your balls off like I am up here in New England, 20, 25 minutes, and you know you smoked a cigar. It's strong. It's got the power, it's got the flavor, and it's a quick smoke.
I, too, happen to be a fan of the McAuliffe Black, found it as you guys were introducing it with the folks from McAuliffe. I remember that show specifically, and ordered a box, I believe, right off the rip, off of your suggestion on how good it was. And it is a go-to. It's in my rotation. I don't smoke cigars daily just because of, job. I don't smoke in a house, blah, blah, blah. But when I have a chance to smoke it, I'm going for that one the majority of the time. Otherwise, like you, definitely an Aladino guy, thanks to you, of course. A lot of things I'm trying to figure out. We must have similar palates because we seem to like a lot of stuff, or I just want to like what you like, and I'm smoking blind either way. But so McAuliffe wins Cigar of the Year. 2 years in a row, by the way, that Cigar of the Year is named kind of let's call it a value cigar. So last year you had the Montosa Maduro. That was a $7 cigar, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And then this year it's an $8 cigar. Is it 2 years in a row of people being fiscally responsible, or does it just so happen the best cigar happens to be one that's also value?
There's something to what you get for your money. So I'm going to go back a little ways. I have a friend named Mike, and he owned a cigar company, and he sold the cigar company for an undisclosed amount of millions of dollars, and he didn't need the sale. He was a rich guy to begin with. And he smokes La Giana Corona Maduro. It's a $7 cigar, $135 for a box. And I said to him, Mike, you can afford to smoke anything you want. And he said, the game for me is how much value can I get for the dollar that I spend? And I do this with everything from cars to cigars to meat, everything. So I think that's where the consumer is at. A consumer will pay a little extra if they're getting a little extra value. And the thing about McAuliffe Black is this cigar would sell just as well at $12.
Yeah.
And Al McAuliffe, again, another guy who does not need the money, is taking it on the chin on this one. I think he could go for his balls and get way more money, but he's put out a value cigar that's full bodied and full flavored. at a very reasonable price point. And those guys that smoke this flavor profile are rewarding him for that.
Do you see any first half trends we should be on the lookout for?
It's going to be more of the same. It's going to be the companies that are hungry for market share, that put out an unbelievable product. And in the case of McAuliffe, he's holding the price again for this year. This is last year's prices. Everybody is going up. We've done, the other day, we did 4.5 hours of price changes. Everybody is going up. And the McAuliffe family said, we are not going up on this cigar. They're going to take the shipping costs went up. Tobacco prices went up. They don't grow tobacco. They buy tobacco.
Yep.
So everything is going up, and they're saying, you know what, we're going to hold, because they want that market share. So when you start talking about legacy brands, and if you want to know what a legacy brand is, just look through Cigar Aficionado. Every single brand that's advertised, that's legacy. And they are raising their prices because they're going to live off their name, and they're going to live off their multi-million-dollar ad budgets. Al McAuliffe advertises now on one venue, and that's the Cigar Authority. And they advertised before they got Cigar of the Year, and they won Cigar of the Year fair and square because West Tampa is also an advertiser. They got the studio.
Let's talk about JRE for a second, because I'm a huge fan. They've actually become a small partner with the show, which I was very excited about, dealing with Viv. Justo is going to be coming on the show here in March, so excited to talking with him, no doubt. We both love the Reserva, as we said. However, they have a new offering called the Sumatra. I got to be honest, I'm falling in love with this cigar as well. And when I talked to my buddy Jeff from Minnesota, and we share cigars between us and tasting notes and all this other stuff, he told me, some Sumatras don't do it for him, or they leave some kind of a flavor that it's not off-putting, but it's not like, But he said this one is different. So when I got my hands on them, I was like, holy shit. Like, if this is what a Sumatra is supposed to be like, then move over, because I'm going to be the next biggest fan. What do you think about this one?
I'm going to say that Aladino has found a way to take the yuck out of Sumatra. Sumatra is a very cheap tobacco when you're buying tobacco. I believe the folks at JRE grow their own. And if that's the case, and forgive me on this for not knowing it exactly, but I believe they grow their own. And Julio Aroa, the father, is a mastermind when it comes to agronomy. And Justo has his degree in agronomy. So between the two of them, they're able to create a soil condition that makes that Sumatra flourish as a wrapper crop. So yes, they managed to take that overly earthy, overly dirty flavor component out of Sumatra and make it not taste cheap. They're charging us for it, by the way. It's a little bit more than the Aladino Corolla Reserve, but it only comes in a Toro, and it's on par with the other Toros in that same level of price. So it's very good.
A week from tomorrow, the Meatball Challenge. You've yet to pull out victory. I know, being a competitive guy that you are, you're looking to reign supreme, to get the people's adulation forever and everybody off your fucking back. Smoked meatballs this year, maybe?
I'm tempted. The thing that I've discovered is anytime that I go outside of really achieving a gas station meatball, and I did my best, I scored the highest when I went, I don't give a shit. I'm just making a gas station meatball. No frills. It's just a meatball. A couple of kinds of meat, maybe beef and pork, a little fatty, some filler, some egg, some seasoning, not too much seasoning, and just make it as basic bitch of a meatball as I can. And I think that's going to be the victory, because the guy that won last year, I've had better meatballs at a gas station.
They say in competition barbecue, the winner makes the least offensive barbecue, and that's the flavor profile everybody's shooting for. So it sounds like
100%.
With competition meatballs, you're shooting for the same thing. This is Mr. Jonathan, our cigar expert. You can find him co-hosting the Cigar Authority podcast, which is thecigarauthority.com. Or if you want to buy cigars, you don't have a brick and mortar location that's around you, or they're not carrying what you like, you can go to the number 2 guyscigars.com and buy up. That's where I buy all my cigars when I buy them. Jonathan, really appreciate the time. We wish you good luck.
Can I pitch one thing before I go?
I hope you do.
So we have an official Cigar School live Friday, March 8th on the Cigar Authority. You can buy in with $59.99. That'll get you 3 Garofalo cigars, a Connecticut, a Sun-Grown, a Maduro. We're going to teach you how to cut, light, smoke. We're going to go through all 3 wrappers and show you the difference that the wrapper makes on the flavor. You're going to get a double blade cutter, a jet flame lighter, and a flavor wheel, and access to the live link. There's other ones on there. You can go on the cigarauthority.com, click the Cigar School link, and it has other packages. You may even want to do the all-in night out with the guys package for $249, and you'll have 24 cigars and a shitload of fun.
As always, Mr. Jonathan, thank you for coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
I'll tell Dave that the invoice is in the mail for the free ad there at the end, and we'll be all set. Absolutely. Cigar School, live and in person, online. Check it out. Great cigar info. Love to break outside of the box and bring you the good stuff. Mr. Jonathan always bringing it strong, which we certainly appreciate. You can find him at thecigarauthority.com or the number 2 guyscigars.com for retail. We're back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Mr. Jonathan for joining us the last segment. Once again, thecigarauthority.com or the number 2 guyscigars.com to buy cigars. So we learned all about what the filler tobaccos do. Did a nice little wrap-up of everything right towards the end of that. And then we got into some of the other stuff. Cigar of the Year is McAuliffe Black. Gang, I'm telling you, there's no bigger fan except for Mr. J than the Aladino stuff. If you want to get outside the Aladino, the McAuliffe is crazy good. It's box-worthy. By the way, if you're a fan of cigars, you smoke something and you like it, buy the box. Always a discount, always cheaper. As long as you have a humidor, they're never going to go bad, even a year from now or 2 years from now. Always buy the box once you decide you like a certain cigar. You don't like saving money? We'll get to a poll update in the second hour as we lead off, and then we have the embedded correspondence filing in here shortly. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me.
Fine, how you doing?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet for wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And we are into the second hour. It is the Barbecue Central Show. We talk about the most important things that are going on in the live fire industry today. So happy to have you aboard here. If you're just coming in for the second hour, you missed the first hour. Don't worry. We are recording both video and audio. Most of you are doing audio at convenience, so you'll get the hour number 1 on Thursday. No, you'll get the hour number 1 on Wednesday. You'll get hour number 2 on Thursday. We'll talk about Friday here in just a second. The show coming to you live and direct from
Palm City, USA, Cleveland.
Still to come on the show this evening, the embedded correspondence. And we say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to facebook.com/BBQ Central Show. You can watch on twitter.com/BBQ Central Show. Or you can watch and take part in the poll question of the week over at youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where we get the update. I'm asking everybody, have you ever eaten questionable shrimp or prime rib at a script club? 75% of you are saying nope. Thank God. Again, I thought I was going to be in the far minority on this, but it appears that the yeses are in the far minority. 25% of you are saying yes, you have eaten the questionable shrimp or prime rib at the script club. Matt Osmond is in. Unofficial Memphis correspondent, maybe. It's in the works. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday, episode 318, taking you back to January 26, 2010. Being featured this week is the, I'm going to say, self-proclaimed winningest man in barbecue, the pitmaster of Jack's Old South, Myron Mixon. You know, this is really weird. Understand that on Friday, specifically on this coming Friday, the interview that you will be hearing will be celebrating its 14th year anniversary. 14 years. On Friday, it will be January 26th. 14 years removed. Myron Mixon was on the show. It was a Tuesday. And we were talking about how his 2009 competition season had wrapped up. Here's some insight, just in case you were wondering what 2009 looked like for a younger, 14 years younger, Myron Mixon. 2009 found him winning the Memphis Barbecue Network Team of the Year again. He finished 22nd overall in the Florida Barbecue Association, and he finished 35th overall in the Kansas City Barbecue Society's Team of the Year points race. Again, Team of the Year in one sanctioning body, top 22 in FBA, and top 35 in KCBS. So I will always say that when it comes to the greatest barbecue competitor of all time, Doug will sit here and tell you it's Darren Worth, blah, blah, blah. If you go back over the body of work of Myron Mixon when he was really putting that work in, he was winning across all sanctioning bodies. Memphis Barbecue Network, he was winning KCBS championships. He was winning Florida Barbecue Association championships. He was also then winning Memphis in May championships. By the way, Memphis Barbecue Network and Memphis in May, mutually exclusive, sound similar, sound like they should be connected. Not. Memphis in May is a self-sanctioned event. It's not even sanctioned. A lot of people think that Memphis in May is sanctioned by the Memphis Barbecue Network. That is not the case. Memphis in May is a self-sanctioned event. Memphis Barbecue Network, something completely separate. And as we've come to find out over the last couple of weeks, we'll actually be sanctioning Smoke Slam, which is the new Memphis event. Anyway, let's get back to what Friday's episode is going to look like. We talk about Barbecue Pitmasters, the TV show. It's also a great point in Myron's career where he was getting quite a bit of celebrity attention, believe it or not. Yes, those words, celebrity attention for somebody in barbecue. What do I mean by that? I mean, people, as in paparazzi, were taking pictures of him getting in and out of cars, if you can believe it. We talk about that as well, so you want to tune in for that. Great interview, always gives great interviews. So if you weren't around 14 years ago, you can catch up this Friday. Look for it. You have to subscribe to the podcast in order to get the best of. You can subscribe to the show by visiting thebbqcentralshow.com/subscribe. And if you want to hear a guest or segment that you think's been lost in the archives, you can email John, Jon, and let him know, Jon at thebbqcentralshow.com, and let him know you would like to hear this guest or this segment once again, and he'll do his best to meet your expectation. Dennis from Colorado emailing the show. Greg, love the new mic and the new 2024 grooming. Now with both ear monitors in, that slick mic, 2024 kicking with style. The Arden/GE smoker was put to good use this weekend with temps at -11 in Colorado. I loaded 2 racks of ribs, yes, both cut in half. And in 5 hours, Michelle and I had hot smoky ribs. I then loaded a pork shoulder up and let it ride. Now, this is a very interesting portion of the email because this is what Christie Vanover said she really liked most about the indoor smoker. I really enjoy the low temp holding, allowing us to finish the cook and then hold for hours until dinner. The counter space is 16 inches high by 16.5 wide by 20 deep, so similar to a microwave, but not as wide. GE verbiage on the size. Quote, it's a small footprint, large capacity, can fit 3 racks of ribs, baby backs, a brisket, doesn't say what size, a whole chicken, up to 40 chicken wings, or 14-pound pork butt. I've never seen a 14-pound pork butt. The same results consumers demand from a traditional smoker, but with a fraction of wood pellets, making it more cost-effective and efficient. Plus, a pellet capture system extinguishes used pellets and collects them in a water tank for easy disposal. Just ordered. What? Oh, I just ordered 2 of Jess's chili boxes. Can't wait to try it. You're going to love them. As always, her segments are great. So much fun. And you're right. Photograph rules. Yeah. No kidding. Barry was a great guest. So interesting. I had a version of the gooey sando that you mentioned. My mom would take the roast, grind it, add mayo or Miracle Whip, and then top with ketchup and a pickle. In my youth, me and the boys would go to the script club, not eat there, but when we got home, we made a sando of toast, peanut butter, and A1 sauce. What? What are you doing, Dennis? Awesome show, Greg. Regards, Dennis. With a minute 45 I have before we get to the embedded correspondence, I have to be honest. I'm coming to you from a brand new computer. Why? You know why? Because a cat pissed on my computer. A couple weeks ago, I was noticing that the computer was randomly shutting down. Maybe I mentioned this last week. I can't have the potential during a live show of the computer just blue screening out. So I call the computer guy. He says, hey, I'll hook you up with the new one. He said, let's look at the old one that I'm bringing in too. I might want to use it as a production piece, offload some of the weight on the main show computer. And then he called me back after he had a look at it and said, well, this thing's got water damage in the bottom. I said, water damage? I know there's no water in the basement, but I know what's in the basement. Jeff, I hate to tell you this, but that wasn't water in the bottom of the computer. It was cat piss. And that was messing with the power supply and some other things. So they cleaned it out, dried it up as best you can. Can't guarantee that it won't happen again, but that's not the streaming computer anymore. Now we have the Tower of Power 4. Besides, Tower Power 3 was going on 4 years old anyway. This one is 60% better than the beast of Tower of Power, so we should be set for another 3 or 4 years. And this time I have it protected. I have it up off the ground. All of this. And by the way, there has to be something wrong with one of the cats because the peeing, it hasn't just gotten incrementally more. We've taken the throttle and moved it up 75%. Peeing upstairs on the wood floor in the kitchen. Becky catching one of them in the corner. It's a lot. I'm at wit's end. Somebody's going to have to come over and help me kill these cats, and I can't be the one that does. I need plausible deniability. So if you want to help me out, I got $5 burning a hole in my pocket, believe me. Doug, get up here from San Antone. You're the trapper of all trappers, but I don't need you to trap them. I need you to kill them. Embedded correspondents are loaded in. We'll get to them here in a second. Before we do that, Franklin Barbecue Pits. Let me make a plea. All of you folks out there that are in the barbecue supply store biz, or you're in the specialty fireplace biz and you're looking to bring in some cookers, you want to become a dealer of some high-level stuff, allow me to pitch to you becoming a certified Franklin Barbecue Pit dealer. It's very easy to do. Go to franklinbbqpits.com. There's a dealer application form. Fill that out. Then kick it over to my guy, Matt Gase. He will take it from there. Imagine being able to showcase this wonderful steel offset, American steel, 1/4 inch for the most part. Anything that sees heat is going to retain it. It's not going to chip. It's not going to just whisk away into this Arctic blast that we've had up in Cleveland the last few weeks. It doesn't matter what environment you're in. Once this thing gets up to temperature, it's going to hold the heat. It's going to be a consistent cooker. And you have the showpiece of showpieces on your floor. How long did it take? 5-10 minutes to become a certified Franklin Barbecue dealer when you fill out that application and send it in. Work out the deals with Matt, and then you're off and running. Now you can advertise on radio. Everybody knows who Aaron Franklin is. Tell them, yeah, I carry the Franklin Barbecue Pit. Come on over and see it. Thing sells itself. Again, that's franklinbbqpits.com. franklinbbqpits.com. Go to the dealer application link, print it off, fill it out, then send it back up to Matt, and away you go. We're back with the embedded correspondence right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
That's one I got to make a note on. This portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 3 sizes with a host of accessories. Doesn't matter if you're a beginner, professional, it's a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. You visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central Show sent you, and you'll be very happy about that. It is the 4th Tuesday of the month in the second hour, and that, of course, means we have the embedded correspondence joining us here this evening. We have Doug Scheiding right next to me from Texas, and John Solberg's right below me from Michigan. And there he is, Rusty Monson from Salt City Barbecue in the great city of Utah. We have a slew of surety questions to get to here tonight, plus some additional topics. But before we do that, we have a YouTube poll question. Wait, hold on a second. John, with your ears, is my mic hot? Sound good? What do you think?
For my seat right now, it sounds perfect.
Perfect. All right, so we'll leave it at that, and I'll edit that out so nobody can hear that. Before we get into the assurity questions, we have a YouTube poll question of the week spawned off the heels of the end of Jess Pryle's segment last week. So we're asking everybody this, and we'll start with you, Douglas. Have you ever eaten questionable shrimp or prime rib at the Script Club? Yes or no?
I have to say yes on that one.
Wow. You and 23% of the other voting public. John, yes or no?
I have not, no.
Rusty, ever eaten questionable shrimp or prime rib at the Script Club?
I didn't know they had it, so no.
I got to be honest. If I thought any of you guys were going to be eating at the Script Club, I thought it was going to be Rusty. Like, hell yeah, man. Food, naked broads, whatever. I mean, I'm sorry, but I didn't think Doug was going to. Are you offended, Rusty?
No, it's kind of cool because I can go now. Like, oh, honey, I was at a strip club. Because have you had the burger at American Bush? Come on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the free gentleman's prime rib every third Friday of the month. Why not? So 23% of folks are saying yes, they have eaten at a strip club, and 77% of us are saying no, we have not. Go ahead, Doug.
In my defense,
there's no defense
happened
needed.
in Vegas. Yeah, kind of like Hangover, but anyway, so not quite that bad.
Doug, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, of course. No defense. All right, let's go ahead and get it on with the assurity questions. We'll start with Rusty this month. Rusty, 100% yes or 100% no. Matte black will be the new favorite color for grills and cookers in 2024.
Yeah, it's the coolest color.
All right. John, 100% yes or 100% no. Matte black will be the new favorite color for grills and cookers in 2024.
100% no.
Douglas.
100% no. Agree with John.
All right. I'm going to make it a split decision here tonight. Doug and John are going to be on the same page, but I'm going to team up with Rusty. Well, I don't think it's the best color ever. It failed on Peterbilt trucks, which are not grills, by the way, but they tried to do a whole blackout wheels and blackout whole thing for the truck. Anything that was chrome on a Peterbilt, they wanted to black out. They thought it was going to sell like hotcakes, and it failed miserably. I'm not saying that's going to happen in the live fire world. I'm with Rusty. I think a lot of people are going to gravitate towards the matte black, and we'll see how that works out. No mention of matte black at the CES from Christie Vanover. By the way, Rusty, I had your girlfriend on in the first hour, and she said she thought there were some pretty cool things at CES, but no mention of you. Are you offended?
I always am offended. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Next question for John. 100% yes or 100% no. You are fully aware of who Andrew Zimmern is.
100% yes, I am aware.
Doug, aware?
100% yes.
All right. And Rusty, you are fully aware of who Andrew Zimmern is.
Of course. Absolutely.
Well, this is unanimous. I also was aware of who Andrew was. So good to see that we're right there. Doug, you have a favorite show that he does?
Well, he used to do a show, I think it was called Bizarre Foods.
Yes.
Where he would travel around and also I like it. He's a guest appearance when they do like the best thing I ever ate. So he's on there quite a bit. So I like his kind of technical nature.
Rusty, do you have a favorite Andrew show that he does?
Yeah, his new one, the live fire cooking one outside. It's really cool. Does like rabbit and different things like that. It's kind of a cool project.
John, your favorite Andrew show?
It's got to be Bizarre Foods. That was wild stuff back then.
Yeah, I'm a Bizarre Foods fan. I always thought it was in the same vein as, oh my God, Anthony Bourdain's.
Alton Brown?
No, Anthony Bourdain's kind of thing. Not in the same like attitude, but kind of a similar, topical concept, something like that. So a big fan of that show. He should His production company should get my show on one of his networks, for crying out loud, and sell me a TV show. We'll talk about that when he rebooks on the show. Doug, this is your question, 100% yes or 100% no. You were fully aware of who Barry Enderwick was before he made his debut on the show last week?
Absolutely no, and I'm still not 100% sure who he is, although I did listen to the segment.
John, 100% yes or 100% no. You were fully aware of who Barry Enderwick was before he made his debut on the show last week?
I was 100% aware, and I was surprised to see he found his way to your show somehow.
Rusty, yes or no on Barry Enderwick?
Hell no. I don't know who that is. No.
Rusty, before you mute yourself or unmute yourself, you don't know who he is still? Like you haven't caught up to the podcast, or you know now?
I haven't got to that podcast yet.
Yeah.
So I will know eventually, obviously, but right now, no clue at all.
John, how did you find him? You knew him. Oh, wait.
You know,
By the way, I have to answer this. It's weird for me, right? Because I'm the guy that ended up booking him. But before I found him, I didn't know. I didn't know. I know, obviously, right? But it wasn't on like a radar thing, and then I decided to book him. I don't even remember how I found him. How did you find him, John?
some months ago, a couple of years ago, a friend of mine, an Instagram friend from the United Kingdom, did a guest spot on his channel. And she was on there, and I started like, what's this sandwich of history? And I just kind of picked it up from there. So I've actually been following him for a couple of years, I want to say. Time goes by fast, but I always thought it was kind of interesting. I didn't even know there was enough to make a channel out of it.
I mentioned to him during the interview last week that I thought the concept would easily translate into a hugely successful TV show focusing around 2 or 3 old-timey sandwiches. You do the history, and then you end the show in his kitchen or some type of commercial kitchen. You make it like the recipe, and then you do his plus-ups and stuff like that. I thought it would be a winner. He didn't seem to think it would be a winner at all, but I talked to Sam, the cooking guy, over the course of the week. He believed that would be a winner TV show, and then he continued to show me some other guy that's got a sandwich TV show that I've never heard of. Do you think that would be a good TV show, John, or better Instagram concept?
I think it's a better Instagram concept personally, but I think as we evolve, we're evolving away from TV in this format anyway. So I'm going to stick with Instagram.
Doug, you think it could make a compelling TV show?
Yeah, or even like a YouTube channel that kind of focused on something like that. So yeah, I think so.
Rusty, you don't know him, but do you think you could find a compelling content that focused around old-timey sandwiches?
Compared to the shit they have on Food Network right now, it'd win a fucking Emmy.
All right, let's talk about Food Network for 1 second here. Rusty, let's stay with you. If you were program director for a day, would you kill all the competition stuff and bring back the cooking shows of Bobby Flay and Michael Simon and Tyler Florence and a bunch of other people that I grew up on? Am I being nostalgic and wanting to see Food Network go back to cooking and teaching, or is competition where it's at and that's where you'd like to see it? What would you do?
Competition sucks. It was good when Iron Chef did it, and you could watch Iron Chef, but then you want to watch Mario Batali and you want to watch like Good Eats and that's the jam. That's where you want to be. And if you want to get away, you can watch Iron Chef. That was the golden age, and to me it always will be.
John, if you were Food Network program director, what changes would you make immediately?
Oh, I'd be dusting off and going back to the old days. I'd be buying out Julia Childs and Graham Kerr even. I'd have some nostalgia on there. Go back to all of those cats. Rusty probably knows more of them than me, but you know what I mean? I'd be going all old school cooking.
Doug, what are you making changes to on Food Network?
I would bring back Alton Brown in a big way. I loved his Serious Eats and his shows, and even his Cutthroat Kitchen. I loved that show. So right now I watched regularly Beat Bobby Flay and his Triple Threat, even though it was a little corny in the beginning. I watch it more for the techniques that Michael brings and the competition that they have. Absolutely.
I don't like any of the competition shows. I hate them. By the way, if given the choice to bring back the original Iron Chef, where you had the overdubs of English people and you had Masahiro Morimoto and the French chef and, all these great Asian chefs, I would much rather have that than any American version of Iron Chef with Flay, Simon, Batali. Throw that out of here. Give me the original back. That was stupendous. And then I would want to see the cooking shows again. Bring me back Rachel Ray. Bring me back Ina Garten, of course, because she's awesome. Always looking for Jeffrey.
Of course.
Yikes. And no Giada. She's not that entertaining. But I liked Tyler Florence was great. I didn't mind Guy Fieri's Big Bite or, whatever his first, I'm going to show you how to cook. I thought he had a pretty good show there too. So that's what I would do. I would definitely pair out all the competition stuff immediately. All right, next question. We go back to Russ. 100% yes or 100% no. The Weber Searwood will sell better than the Weber Smokefire.
Yes.
Come back to you for insight on that second, Rusty. John, yes or no?
I'm going to go no. I'm going to say no, it's not.
Doug, the Weber Searwood will sell better than the Weber Smokefire.
I'm going to say yes, it has to.
In Doug's line of thinking, how could anything sell worse than the Weber Smokefire? It should have been renamed the Weber Dumpster Fire. It was terrible. I get it was, we're bringing it to we're solving all ills and all. It was terrible. This appears to be a much better effort. Time will tell, of course. But I don't see how it couldn't sell better on the sheer fact of how bad Smokefire was, that this would encourage people to buy a better version of a Weber pellet cooker. Rusty, what do you think will lead to more sales this time around?
I just remember that release being super junky, and I don't even remember the Smokefire recovering. So if it's still a thing, great. I just think the Searwood is cool and gets really, really hot. It's a interesting. It's just, I don't know. These kind of cookers I don't like them in the first place. So I've just kind of given the Searwood the edge because I thought it was the only one that still existed.
You don't like it because it's gimmicky, you think?
Yeah, all gimmicky stuff sucks, and I didn't know, like I said, Smokefire, I thought that died on launch. I didn't know. I thought it was like the Challenger, space shuttle. I didn't know that was a thing anymore.
John?
I just think there was so much negative publicity at help sales right back in the day. And this one, like, who heard of this new one? No one. Why? Because nothing bad's happening. And I think people have lost their taste for it from Weber and have realized that Weber just can't probably put out these kind of products like they think they can.
Let's go to John. John, 100% yes or 100% no. The General Electric indoor smoker will be a breakout success in 2024, yes or no?
100% no. I think it's going to remain a solid niche player.
All right. Rusty, yes or no on the indoor pellet smoker breaking out?
Yeah, I think it will be cool. It's like it's a little air fryer, but smoke version.
Doug, 100% yes or 100% no. The GE indoor smoker will be a breakout success in 2024.
It's possible we have another split. I'm going with John. No.
I am inclined to split for splitting's sake. However, it's got a few things working against it. Here are the things that are great. It's cold right now, okay? I mean, very cold. It doesn't make me urgent to get outside and do a long cook or a short cook for that matter. So having a potential option indoors that is going to produce a good product. And by the way, unofficially official correspondent from Colorado, Dennis Busso has one and raves about it. I just talked about it top of the second hour. if he's giving it kudos, that holds a lot of weight with me. That would be like John or Doug or Rusty saying this thing is great. So those are the positives. And it's not that much, especially when you look at that other AI-powered grill they were hawking for $3,500. This was like $1,000. And decent amount of food capacity. Where it loses me is it's 40 pounds. You know, I'm a pretty strong guy, but 40 pounds is 40 pounds. And then it's a counter space confiscator. I don't have endless counter space in my kitchen. In fact, I don't have anywhere where I can really think I could put this without having to take something out that I will probably use way more often. So then what does that mean? I might have to take it down to the basement, or I might put it underneath the counter in the cabinets down there. And for me, out of sight, out of mind. So I fear I might not lose it, or I might not use it because I just don't see it. And it's too honking to just be out on the counter space that I don't have otherwise for the amount that I'm going to use it. So for that, I'm going to say no. John, what do you
initial
agree?
prices?
Doug, raise your hand so I can call on you in an orderly fashion, please. Yeah. Oh, Doug, yes?
Doug. The price is already 30% off, so it's off to a roaring start.
All right. Fire sale already on the indoor. John, what do you like or not like?
I don't. Same reason as you. It's a counter space killer. Don't want it in my house. I don't want a wood fire in my kitchen. I don't care what it's contained in. To be honest, it's still a pellet grill burning in my house. I know it's safe. I'm sure it's all vetted out, but it's like I'm gonna go outside and smoke. I don't care how cold it is.
Doug, you said it wasn't going to be a breakout success. What kills it for you?
I'm just not that interested in cooking on such a small type of device on my counter in my kitchen. And if depending on, like you say, the counter hog, depending on how tall that thing is, it might not even fit under most kitchens. And if you'd have to have some special table, and just seems like more of a pain in the butt.
It is 16 inches high, so I'm not sure where that fits into most people's countertop, where the next cabinet would be. Rusty, you were saying it would be a breakout success. What do you like about it specifically?
So a lot of times when you're cooking for, maybe you're just a married couple without kids, or my kids who will eat only tater tots and Rice Krispie treats, you get an alder plank, put a salmon on it, stick it in, cook a salmon. You could do chicken. You could reverse sear a steak at home. You can cook smoked burgers in the house. You can do lots of things, and you just don't do it because I'm with John. John and I live in the same place. It's cold as hell outside, but I'm not going outside to light my pit if I don't have to. If it's just sitting right there, because I have several times, put some wood chips, in the bottom, lit them, put them in my oven, and did a little smoker there. It'd be really nice to have something that I don't have to do that with. Light up a pit in any kind of capacity outside that's bigger than I need it. I don't need a big old pit for, a smoked salmon or a chicken breast or a reverse sear steak or anything like that. It's nice to have. Vegetables, even better. Vegetables would be a great thing to smoke vegetables, smoke cauliflower in it, things like that. I think it'd be a really cool tool.
John, you ever lit a pack of wood chips in your oven?
No, not inside the house. I have it in my gas grill, but not inside.
All right, that's going to bring us to our first break here, guys. So go ahead and chill out while we talk about our pals over at Big Papa Smokers. Listen up, gang. Our friends at Big Papa's have something special just for you, the listeners of the show. Whether you're a seasoned pitmaster or grilling newbie, Big Papa Smokers, your one-stop shop for all things barbecue. For their championship rubs, mouth-watering sauces, essential accessories, they've got what you need to take your food to the next level. Whether you're on the competition circuit or in the backyard. Here's the cherry on top. Big Papa Smokers offering the listeners of Barbecue Central Show an exclusive deal. Use the promo code REMPE at checkout. That's REMPE. And you'll get $10 off your next $50 purchase of rubs, sauces, or accessories. Imagine the possibilities. Evaluate your ribs with Big Papa's Sweet Money, or add Big Papa's Desert Gold to your chicken, or better yet, pick up Double Secret and put it on your steak. Head on over to BigPapaSmokers.com and start shopping today. Don't forget to use the promo code REMPE at checkout, REMPE, and claim your $10 off your next order of $50 or more. Also, don't forget to check out the full line of recipes at cookingwithbigpapa.com and follow them on socials. We're back with more embedded correspondence right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Well, I don't know what the hell is going on, but I'm going to have to figure out exactly what files haven't been properly rerouted as I got this new computer back up, because they don't play in the thing when they're not found, and we just skip right into the next segment. Anyway, we're back with the embedded that seems so weird. We're back with the embedded correspondence. And we just talked about the indoor smoker, and now we have a new surety question. We started with, was it Rusty with the indoor smoker? Yes, so we'll go to Doug, I believe. Hey, Doug. 100% yes or 100% no. Memphis and May selling their headquarters but remaining as a tenant is a sign of financial insecurity.
I'd say 100% yes. Sounds very KCBS-like.
Oh, all right. Rusty, 100% yes or 100% no. Memphis and May selling their headquarters but remaining as a tenant is a sign of financial insecurity.
100% no. 100%.
John, yes or no?
That in itself, I don't see it as a sign. I mean, companies do that all the time. They build new buildings and then sell them and then lease them back to themselves. Are they financially in some kind of issue? Yeah, I believe so. But I don't think they're related, but they're not. This is a loaded question.
So it's a no to the question itself on its face.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We're split. I agree with Doug. Going back to John. 100% yes or 100% no. John, you like the name Smoke Slam for the new Memphis Barbecue Festival, yes or no?
100% no. Sounds way too much like some 80s big time wrestling in a big arena bullshit. WW whatever.
Doug, yes or no on the Smoke Slam?
Sounds like a cigar meetup. No.
Rusty, 100% yes or 100% no. You like the name Smoke Slam for the new Memphis Barbecue Festival?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. There's a lot worse. A whole lot worse.
I agree with the first two. I'm not a fan. I think from a set yourself apart standpoint, and you're dealing with the renowned Memphis and May, is it a catchy name or a gimmicky name? Yeah. What do we know about WWE or any of that wrestling stuff? Gimmicks win, of course. You got to gimmick up. You're going to be the gimmick guy, whatever. In this instance, I don't know if gimmick gets you where you want to go. I would anticipate at some point, if this thing becomes a success, maybe there's a name change down the road, but we'll see about all of that as we get through the years here with this. Rusty, you like it because it is a nostalgia wrestling thing? Is that what it is?
No, it's just a name, you know. It's just we'll all forget about it later. We won't even think about it. It's just like, you know, if you name a kid, name it Steve. It don't matter. It'll be a Steve its whole life, and you'll know no different. It's just a name, man. Just call it whatever. Call it Barbecue Comp, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, how about that? Barbecue Comp. Rusty, now it's your turn again. 100% yes or 100% no. Haters of Smoke Slam, the event, only hate because they feel they have to. Their feelings are not based on any type of fact.
I would agree with that 100%.
Right? John, 100% yes or 100% no. Haters of the Smoke Slam event only hate because they feel they have to. Their feelings are not based on any type of fact.
I'm gonna roll with Rusty. I'm going with Rusty. Yep, that's the truth. You know what I mean?
John or Doug, yes or no?
I think I've been 100% different than Rusty this whole time. I am going no.
We'll be coming to you again here in a minute. I agree with Rusty and John. Hate all you want, but until the first version of this comes off and you now have quantifiable results to base your hate or love for, don't hate it. I think you're hating it just because either people are telling you have to hate it or you're personally feeling some type of a vendetta against Memphis and May. Granted, it continues to be very odd that it's going up against Memphis and May in the same weekend. I know John said a month ago or 2 months ago, look, this is business. This is just the way it is. You're not going to be doing it in successive weekends or anything like that. You're going to go head to head. And a part of me really likes that, by the way. But I think there's no fact to hate at this point. And really, when you start to look at the nuts and bolts of it, there's a lot to like about it as you read it on paper. But proof is in the pudding, ultimately. Doug, why do you say yes?
I say yes because there's too much smoke on the river, maybe a new name, from the standpoint of how MIM got kicked out, in my opinion. Someone I think said it was, or insinuated it was an inside job. And what is the saying that they always say? Follow the money. So I think there's plenty of reasons to say that they have other reasons to hate it.
All right. Go to John. I think I'm losing my order here. I should write it down. 100% yes or 100% no. John, KCBS regains the confidence from their barbecue team and actually gains popularity in 2024. Yes or no?
No way, dude. Nothing. Are you kidding? No, it's not fun. Don't even get me started.
All right.
No.
Doug, KCBS regains the confidence of the barbecue teams and actually gains popularity in 2024.
No.
It's a 2-time laugher. Let's see if we can go 3-time laughers. Rusty, yes or no?
I got to say something about that last one, though, real quick, and it kind of ties into this one. We're complaining about a barbecue contest, and they're slipping away every single day. We need to stop bitching about stuff and accept the fact that there is one, and that comps are getting shut down still to this day, and soon we're gonna have none to really go to. So I mean, Smoke Slam, if it's Memphis and May, if it's whatever, just shut up and go cook it. It's we need these, man. Everyone chill out. And yeah, KCBS, they'll be all right. They'll be good.
Will they regain popularity this year?
I think so. I mean, all eyes on them. So if they can pull it off and do something good, I think that's a lot of attention they're going to get. I think they need to step up some things we have a lot of rib contests, the new rib association. They need to step up their rib program as far as contests goes. They need to do those little things to, get it back on track. I've always said the backyard barbecue contests or the way of the future to get us back into the KCBS pro events. And they need to do things like that. Like I said, it's theirs to screw up right now. And I feel like that Rod will do a good job.
As we sit here January 23rd of 2024, I'm going to agree with John and Doug. I think it's too early to say, that all of the teams are going to buy back confidence into the scoring system, especially what transpired towards the end of last year. But I'm not saying that it's insurmountable as well. And I couldn't possibly sit here in good faith and say that the KCBS is going to gain popularity this year. Their goal, the stretch goal should be gaining back popularity. The goal should be to be flat, not lose. Like Rusty just alluded to it. You're losing barbecue contests left and right for a variety of reasons. You got to figure out what those reasons are, plug those holes. But the goal has to be to not lose anything before you look to grow. If you continue to lose barbecue contests and the pool of contests continue to get smaller, at some point it goes away. So I will remain with a no now, but certainly nobody's more hopeful than me that we would see a resurgent KCBS and whatever that looks like. I don't care who's in control. I don't care who sits on the board. Doesn't make any difference to me as long as it goes in the right direction. Whoever can get it there, I'm a fan of, because a long portion of the show was competition related and a lot of people liked it. And it was fun talking to competitors. It was. And then it became unfun for a lot of different reasons. So if we could get it back or recapture a little bit of that magic and see it go in the other direction again, finally, I'm all for that. Doug, 100% yes or 100% no. You will watch the Jess Pryles TV show when it airs.
Absolutely, and I hope she brings the same fire she's been bringing to this show for the last year.
Rusty, yes or no?
Hell yeah, Jess has got the Riz.
I'm going to go first before John. Yeah. One of the few I will actually go out of my way to watch. John, 100% yes or 100% no. You will watch the Jess Pryles TV show when it airs.
Wait a minute, Doug. Doug's shaking his head. He's already shaking me off here. Like I don't have television. So it's like, I don't have TV. I'm not watching it. And if I did have TV, I ain't saying. So, but no, I'm not watching it because I don't have television. It's just a thing. I don't have it.
I can't propose a hypothetical to you. If you had television, do you think you would watch it? Yes or no?
Would I go out of my way to watch Jess Pryles on TV? No, get that weak stuff out of here.
Get that weak stuff out of here.
Get that weak stuff out of here.
100% yes or 100% no. Rusty, we'll end it with you. Photograph is a better Def Leppard song than Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Yeah, 100% yes. 100% yes. Not close. Not close.
Not close. All right. Doug, Photograph is a better Def Leppard song than Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Absolutely, it's not even close.
John, Photograph is a better Def Leppard song than Pour Some Sugar on Me.
100% yes.
Well, this is what we call unanimous because we know where I'm sitting. Of course it is. All right, so that brings a wrap to the 100% assurity questions. I'm looking at time. I want to make sure we got enough time for promo, and we think we do. Let's tackle this topic. I don't know what everybody knows about it, but I had a guy beginning of the year, 3 weeks ago. He's the owner of Kevery Grills, and I'm wondering where this cooker, where you think the experts in the industry, leading opinion makers in the live fire industry, Doug, John, and Rusty, where do you think this fits into the live fire landscape? Doug, we'll start with you.
I'm not sure it does. I think the use of charcoal is still it's doesn't appeal to a lot of people. A lot of my female friends, even myself. To me, it's like a nice glorified barrel that has nice shelves. It looks nice, but it's not something that I would want in my arsenal.
Just because you're a pellet guy?
No. I don't mind. It's just, I'd rather use wood chunks. If I'm gonna have something like that, I want to use solely wood chunks. Maybe charcoal to get it lit, but otherwise, no. Charcoal's dirty.
Rusty, what do you think Kevery Grills fits into the landscape of live fire?
It's so two-parter here. It's gimmicky in a way. You know, it's trying to be all things at one time. But I think going camping with something like this would be really, really cool. I think it'd be a great camping stove if I took it down, because it could do all the things, and I could just use it as a stove, as a griller, as all the things I need it for. I wouldn't use it in my backyard at all, but I would absolutely, just because it's small enough, just, you know, I don't know if you can fit in a car, but just throw in the back of your truck, doesn't take up a lot of space. You could put it out, and as your camp, you could just cook all sorts of fun stuff. So for that, I think it's going to be really cool.
I think it was $1,300 or $1,400 price point. Rusty, is that too much for you, or is that about right for what you're getting?
No, I'm rich as fuck, so no, I'm good.
Yeah. All right, good for you. Doug, price point wise, are you offended, or is that right in the wheelhouse?
No, I mean, I'd rather you just use my Weber kettle that I have and have some fun with that.
John, where do you think Kevery grills fits into the live fire landscape?
Well, when I look at this grill, my brain takes me to Hasty Bake for some reason. Like they're trying to chase that. And I also think it's a solution for a problem that doesn't exist. And I think that it ultimately will just get lost in the clutter because I don't know how it's really going to separate itself out from the myriad of other Weber kettles all the way through Hasty Bakes and Mac grills that are out there today.
I really like Antonio. Great energy. I like the cooker on its face. I think it's a pretty unique object. I'm not necessarily offended at $1,300-$1,400. When I was talking to him offline, he said that a lot of the inspiration came from Europe, where a lot of charcoal commercial grills are being used regularly. We just don't see that here on an everyday basis here in the States, and that's how this whole thing was developed and putting it into a backyard thing. So the fit and finish, I think I've never seen one. As odd as it was, they were at HPB Expo last year when I was there, and I just didn't see them outside because probably my eyes were frozen. It was so cold. So I missed my chance to see it in person. But I think that, again, fit and finish is probably top notch. I like the concept. I fear it could get lost in also being lumped in with ceramic cookers. If you're looking at a Big Green Egg or a Primo or Kamado Joe, and also this, there's a lot of similarities to a degree. I think you might have more options and more functionality depending on what you're doing with a Kevery. But I think it like John said, I think you end up potentially getting lost here. So marketing is going to be very big for them. They should be advertising on the show, no doubt about it, in order to take it to the next level. But they need to find the right shows to exhibit this product in order to build a robust dealership, so then they can have people touch and feel it and fall in love with it that way. So we'll see how that goes. All right, we're going to be wrapping up here. So, Doug, anything on a promotion standpoint that you would like to talk about before we leave tonight?
Absolutely. Give me a little bit of runway. 3 things. San Antonio Rodeo, the second largest barbecue contest, is this weekend. Over 330 teams. I'll be on the next episode, 222, on both sides, barbecue as well as baseball, as a co-host. Matt Whistler, pitcher for Detroit last year, and then also Tina Cannon of Netflix. Lastly, I would like to finally friggin' announce publicly that that my rub is in 91 stores of Home Depot. They're doing pilot projects in about 12 cities. San Antonio's one, Dallas. If you check my Instagram, I've got the cities that it's on, and it actually officially opened up yesterday, and hopefully it grows to be a little larger.
Why didn't you even mention that was in the works?
I was under super duper secrecy not to say Home Depot coming out because they wanted to launch it themselves.
You couldn't say I'm working on a rub? You never even mentioned that to any of us ever. The fuck?
Oh, yeah. I've been working on a rub for 2 years.
You never said anything to us. You've been a correspondent for 15 years. You never tell us that you're working on a rub you're going to bring to market? You don't have to mention Home Depot. You trying to offend us on purpose? Look at Rusty. He's getting ready to cry.
If anybody pays any sort of attention to my Instagram, they know I've been working on rubs. I'm coming out with 3 rubs in March from Old World Spice.
John, on a scale of 1 to 10 of being offended, and 10 is the only answer, how offended are you?
I'm a 10, of course.
Rusty, are you a 10?
Hate to say it, but Doug kind of told me because we're best friends.
He told you?
Even though I don't get ribs.
Wow. All right. Well, I guess we know who rates and who doesn't on the show. All right. Well, Rusty, what do you have to promote here this evening?
Pitmaster Podcast going back to a weekly podcast, so give a listen to the Pitmasters Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.
What about the food truck podcast?
Oh yeah, that too. That one's coming out soon. I got a couple more to do to wrap up, and then I have to do this, do a little tidying around the, it, and then really start releasing them.
John, on a scale of 1 to 10, Rusty's food truck podcast, 1 not coming out, 10 definitely coming out.
10 definitely coming out because I have faith because I really want to listen to it. I'm hopeful.
Doug, 1 to 10?
10, it's coming.
I'm going to meander right there in a 5. There's a lot of words that he's using. Look, I'm a podcast expert, and there's a lot of words that he's using that make me feel uncomfortable. I'm not saying it's not happening, but I'm going to sit right at 5, and we'll see where it goes. I am surprised that Pitmaster's podcast came back to a weekly. I thought that thing was going out, so I was wrong on that. That's why I'm staying at 5. Doug, you have something to say?
I was going to ask that follow-up question.
Yep.
What are the odds that the Pitmaster podcast is going to go back down 1 to 10?
Greetings
my
from
God.
Bellevue.
Okay, what the fuck is going on here? What is going on here? Well, obviously, I got some tinkering to do with the automation software here before next week, but it didn't have a big name. All right, anything else, Rusty? I'm sorry. You good?
No, sir. I'm good.
All right, John, what are we promoting?
I'm good. Get us out of here on time, boss. Everybody knows where to find me on Friday.
No doubt. There they are, the embedded correspondents. Doug from Texas, longest running, and John from Michigan, and Rusty from the great city of Utah. Let's see. Let me punch that out. Let's go. Second hour wrap up. That's just nothing. Oh, okay. I know what happened there. Didn't stop the top of the hour. Should have. Oh, well. Let's go back here. All right. We thank our buddies, the embedded correspondents. So weird. Let's talk about Aladino and JRE Tobacco, as Mr. Jonathan mentioned in the first hour. Julio and Justo are geniuses independently, together, mega genius, bringing to you some of the best cigars available on the market today. You know I'm a fan of the Corojo Reserva line, but as I said, the Sumatra that has recently been released is quickly making me a stepper outer from time to time on the Reserva. And then, of course, the Aladino regular Corojo. I have a box of the Petite Coronas, a 4-inch by 40 ring gauge, so smaller, great for that 30 to 35-minute drive. Not less than that, but if you have an hour drive, it's great. Perfect. You need to find a retailer near you. You go to jretobacco.com, you find that, and then you visit them. If you are at a brick-and-mortar location you're already frequenting and they're not carrying Aladino, make sure you tell them to carry Aladino. Maybe Trey will be the rep out there. We know Trey Shipley. We're looking to have him on the show here shortly as well. Trying out different blends from the Aroa family demonstrates their expertise in mastering hard-to-grow tobacco varieties like Sumatra, and then blending them into a smoking experience that's second to none. You're going to love them. As always, if you want a sample, let me know. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com, and I'll shoot you out a couple samples for you to try before you buy. And again, buy in the box. I know you're going to love them, so buy in the box and save. Who doesn't want to save money? jretobacco.com. That's jretobacco.com. We're back to wrap the show right after this, so stick around. We'll be right back. That should be there, though. Oh, that is there. Forgive me while I try and figure this out on the fly. Where'd it go? It's not there. All right. This should have been there. Well, we don't have an H drive anymore. It's the E drive. All right. Well, now I know what I got to do. Got to go back and find the H. We'll get it all worked out before next week, okay? Trust me on this. Trust me. Mostly error-free. How about that? All the way back in the first hour, Christie Vanover from girlscangrill.com. We talked about the Consumer Electronics Show that she attended in person. First time in 15 years. Saw some pretty cool cookers, but said overall it was 0.1% of what else was going on at CES. But again, excited to see some of the grill manufacturers unveiling out there. After Christie, it was Mr. Jonathan from Cigar Authority podcast and the number2guyscigars.com. They have a cigar school that they are selling. So if you're interested, go to the number2guyscigars.com. Look for Cigar School, I would imagine. Second hour, all embedded correspondence all the time. Fun as always, giving you the hot takes. And as I said, the leading opinion makers in the live fire industry today. I will have all the H drive stuff worked out. Podcast listeners, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about because most of this will have been edited out. Great show planned for you next week. We're already with a bonus Tuesday, the first month of the year. Crazy. So it's booked. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. September, how do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
Hey, this is Helen Paradise from SoCal, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.